Hello, Jane and Veronica here on our first unscripted video together.
Yeah, so we'll see how this goes.
This is actually our third attempt at this video now. It's the first time Laura didn't actually press play, which was quite upsetting.
Yeah, second time we got disrupted, and now we hope this one makes it all the
okay.
way through. Oh, so why are we here?
So we are here to bust some myths for the delivery side of the business. I know Laura and Evie and Emily have done a couple on the sales and business development side, so we thought we would just help out some candidates and answer some common things that have been cropping up recently.
Yeah, so we work on the delivery side, which means that we're out there helping our wonderful candidates try and find the perfect jobs for them. So we found some common myths online to do with CV writing, cover letters, applying for jobs. So we thought we'd just go through them today and see if we can crack some of the myths and potentially help you have a much more successful application process.
Yes,
so here we go.
So our first myth is quite a common one really. So a lot of people tend to think that CVs should be one page. And obviously we don't want to receive a CV that's like 20 pages long, and believe me, we have in the past. But a CV should be between 2 and 3 pages long. It should have all your past employment history on. It should have your qualifications, as well as a personal summary, what you do on your hobbies, what you do in your spare time, just something about you, a bit of personality. Because there's nothing more kind of boring than it being a bit robotic, just black and white listing. It's nice for us to get a feel about you as a person as well.
Definitely. And a lot of people think that one CV fits all, so they think that you can just fire out CVs to multiple jobs, and that it'll be an attractive proposition for the employer, really, which is absolutely not true. You don't have to create a brand new CV for every role that you apply for, but if you, like Jane said, put a bit of personality into it and tailor it to the company that you've applied for. They want to know that you want to apply for them specifically, not that you're just applying to anybody out there. So tailor it to the job, tailor it to the company, show that you've done a bit of research leading up to it, and it's just little things like that will make you stand out against people that are just randomly applying for things that don't even apply to them.
That's true. And following on quite nicely from that one actually, another myth is to apply for as many jobs as possible. Now obviously you want to keep your options open if you're actively looking for a new role, but don't apply for things that you haven't read. So please do read the job descriptions and make sure that the role is relevant to your experience, your skills, what you're currently doing. Because we receive applications for like IT roles, we get like bus drivers, people that probably definitely haven't read it. So another good thing to do is number one, to tailor and be more specific to the roles that you're applying for, and number two, to keep a spreadsheet, keep tracking what you're applying for, if you've had an interview, where you're up to.
It'll just help them, that you keep on top of everything that you've applied for, and if you do get approached by a company that want to find out more, it's nice for them to know that you've applied for them, and it's not just an algorithm, or it's not just a random company that you've applied for. But if you do apply for a lot of jobs, a lot of people think that you will get a response for every application that you send out there, which unfortunately isn't true. As much as we try our best to include that as part of our process, we like to keep everybody up to date. If you've not been successful, we at least like to try and tell you why, or if you are in the middle of the recruitment process with us, we will give you feedback on why you've been successful or maybe not, so that you can utilise that for the future. But don't worry if you haven't received a response for every job that you've applied for. If it's something that you are really keen on and you actually really like, and you think, I've not heard back, and it's something that I think I'd be great for, then maybe just send a quick email and say, have you got my application? Are you, what stage are we up to with it? And it just shows a bit more initiative, really.
Definitely, yeah. And another myth that we have is that nobody ever reads a cover letter. And for us, receiving a cover letter we really like it. I mean, it's really good to for it to get a bit more personality from the candidate, and maybe if there's two candidates that are very similar, if they got similar experiences, it's good to kind of one might have a bit of a stepping stone because of that. So really tailor them to the job you're applying for. Really read the job spec and include information in that just so we know that it's something that you're really interested in.
And lots of people do tend to think that the most qualified candidates will get the job, which is absolutely not true. It depends entirely on the company themselves. We're working with a couple of companies at the minute who are quite good examples. One is quite focused on looking at the candidate qualifications and the sort of training that they've gone through, and another company is more interested in the hands-on experience that the person has got. So don't ever think you can't apply for a job because you haven't got specific qualifications on paper. You might have valuable skills that you can actually put into practice in that job, because sometimes you could have a long list of qualifications, but it doesn't mean that you've actually got any hands-on experience in the job, which ideally is what's going to make you stand out more. So just if it's something you're really interested in and you think you've got transferable skills, then absolutely go for it.
And that's where a cover letter is really good as well. So if you maybe don't have the qualifications on the job spec, you can include like a really good summary in your cover letter to back it up, back up your application.
Stand out.
Fab. So then moving on, we've got multiple job changes will affect your chances of achieving a new role. So we come across quite a lot of people that have job hopped and they've maybe moved around quite a bit in their previous roles, and obviously that could be for all sorts of different circumstances. If they've had redundancy or they've relocated, things like that. But if you can really back up your reasons, I think that's the main thing, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, definitely. If you've job hopped because you've been quite unreliable, then you need to really think, reassess why it is that you're moving around so much. But if it is something that is completely understandable, whether it's circumstances change, anything like that, then don't worry about it, as long as you can explain why you've moved about a bit. And following on from a point that I made earlier about following up if you've not had a response back from an application you've sent in. Lots of people think that follow-ups are annoying, that we'll find it really annoying, which is absolutely not true. Unless you're texting us, ringing us,
every day,
messaging us every day, all day, maybe calm down a bit. But if you are really keen on a job and you drop us a message and say, I've applied on this date, which is where your spreadsheet comes in handy, I just want a little follow-up really on where you're up to in the process, it absolutely won't annoy us at all. If anything, it'll make you seem more keen, and it is worthwhile, because it's more likely that we'll reevaluate your CV and we'll be more likely to sort of help you out really. So showing a keen interest in a job absolutely works in your favour.
Definitely. I think it really shows your initiative as well, that you're thinking for yourself and not kind of waiting. You're proactive and
making things happen.
And then moving on, we've got take the first offer that you receive. Now obviously it can be really exciting when you get an offer, but by all means don't accept the first offer if you've got other options about. It is really important to consider everything, have a look into the company culture, the progression routes, take everything into consideration, and really keep your options open. So if you've got another interview booked but you have just received an offer, still go to that interview, because you never know that could change your mind. So I think that's quite an important one, isn't it?
Yeah, because the second company that comes on might be even better. If you're lucky enough to get an offer and then another offer from another company, you'd be very envious of a lot of people. But you really need to sort of go away and assess which company is going to be best for you, both professionally and personally. So do take time to think about what is going to be the best move for you.
And I think just following on from that bit, I think it's also really important to keep the recruiters updated, keep the employer updated, because they'll understand if you've got other offers.
Yeah, we're not going to be annoyed if you've got an interview elsewhere. It's just nice to know where you're up to, and then it's more of a partnership then, isn't it? Keeping each other informed, there's no secrets, and we can help you as much as possible as long as you're honest with us.
Yeah. Very true.
And the final one that we've come to is that nobody will notice your online presence. And we absolutely do. We do a lot of headhunting on LinkedIn, but we go across other platforms as well, like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. If you're in the running for a role, it might be in the company's best interest to sort of take a look at your online presence, really, see what sort of interest you have, see if you gel well with the company. But if you're putting anything out there that might be a bit risky or a bit negative towards something, and just be careful how you're coming across online, because although you might have been amazing in an interview and on paper, if they see that you're quite argumentative online, or
it's quite controversial things,
a lot of controversial stuff, they could take that into consideration and it could work against you. So just when you're applying for jobs, just in that period, just caution what you put out there. Censor it a bit.
I think that's it.
That's it. We've done it. We made it through the third time. We hope you've enjoyed it. And if you want to ask any questions on anything we've spoken about, please do feel free to get in touch.
We are. I mean, if there's any other topics or myths that you want us to kind of go over, please do get in touch, because we are looking to do another video.
We think we've done all right so far. I hope so. So yeah, if there's anything in particular that you want us to maybe talk about from the delivery side of the company, then just let us know and we'll tailor a video to you in the future.
Yes.
But thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.